Hello everyone and welcome back to another one of Force of Will deck builds, and we're going to go with New Frontiers. For this deck is going to be the Dark Hero Millium. Let's get into it. Now, if you watched the Ruler School, as you probably saw, there was actually a feature match between this deck and the Spellslinger Scarlet. He kept saying Charlotte too. Um, on the Ruler School, you can go check that out. I'm pretty sure he'll have the deck list for that very soon. But this was in response to that, and I was gonna do a deck list for it anyways. So the Dark Hero Millium deck is mainly black white, and of course it starts with our ruler Millium, Prince of the Light Palace, who then turns into Millium, Voice for a New Generation. This Millium works pretty much the same as even when my Ascension to Power Millium. We basically utilize him because he can make any Resonator that is a fairy tale be paid for light will. And basically we have black will because it's white black to play any other Resonators or any other support cards that also utilize black. So like every other time, he flips over and he gets you a stone, which is always good, especially the combination we use, and you use him as the beater for your deck. You want to go straight into somebody with him if possible, and the way the deck works, you should be able to attack and defend most times simultaneously with this deck. So I'm going to go over the first part. Like always, we're going to go from Resonators to Chants to Additions to the stones and then the sideboard. So let's start with the Resonators. You're going to have 3 Dreaming Girl Wendy's. Just like I said before, Wendy is there because she's a 1 cost that is a 2/3 and she untaps when you play Fairy Tales. You're going to have 4 Kintaro partners, actually. 4 Kintaro partners. I'm going to make sure I have the deck right here. He is a 1 cost. He costs 1 black, so either you hit into a black stone, you can play for him, or you hit into a white stone, you can play him. He comes in, he hits the a target Resonator, J Resonator by the way, for -200, -200. You're going to have 2 Sprinting Flame Horses. Sprinting Flame Horses is actually for the combination that is you flipping your ruler, having red because you actually have red in your stone base, and immediately making him swift and swinging with him, thereby making Millium bigger at the very beginning, so he's actually harder to kill. Makes it where enemies can't like final battle him out too quickly because it becomes too expensive. Especially if you hit him for damage, they can't pay for it anymore. You're gonna have 3 Tinkerbell. I believe it is, yeah, it's Tinkerbell the Fairy, so the newer one. She gets bigger for every other fairy tale, which you're going to have a lot of. You're going to have 3 Confectioner Hansels, which of course go and get you Magic Sweets, which is what you use to pump yourself and get barrier for both your ruler and anything you want to protect. You have 2 Dark Bokuros. Dark Bokuros are 0/1000s that allow it where your opponent has to pay 1 more on your turn to cast chance, meaning he allows you to be more aggressive on your turn, knowing that if they play any chant, that it'll be more expensive, and thus you can probably like edge it out because they can't get too many out, so they can't, fair spell everything you have if they can't pay for it. You're gonna have 3 Kentaros. Kentaro is the precision creature in this deck that gets bigger based on the non fairy tale beast and fairy tales, which he count as, and he's a 2 cost. You can't ask for more than that. You're gonna have 4 Raise the Black Owl. Obviously for 2 reasons. 1, Ray turns into 0 on the other side, and Ray can't be attacked. Is a beast, is black, which means you're going to need that white black stone or anything like that to get her out. And she makes every entity you have. This includes stones, people. Some people forget that for some reason. Every entity you have required to be targeted twice to be killed. So unless it hits the entire field, it can't kill anything you have, nor can it touch any of your stones. Meaning, forget those Mosasaurus and all that stuff tapping your stones out so you can't, do anything. You just say no to that. Also is a flyer. So it's a flyer that gives everyone basically barrier for 1 attack. Do know that it affects your stuff too, so you can't bury your guy if you have this, which means Dreams of Flight will be a problem. But other than that, you should be fine. You're gonna have 3 Eternal Boy Peter Pans. He gets a low cost Resonator out of the deck, and he himself is a 3 cost that is flying, and he makes Wendy specifically not be able to be attacked and flying. So you can't ask for more than that. You're gonna actually have 1 Grim King of the Fairy Tales. I have one of him in there so that when I need to do like the end push, I can. He's not absolutely needed, but he's a good thing to have because he can force on both your opponent's turn and your turn once. And it's an ability, meaning unless they low right specifically that ability, you're gonna get that through and you're gonna smash everything. And it hits everything from humans to fairy tales, so it's not bad. You're gonna have 2 Grims of Crimson Moon who flip into 2 Grim Hope from the Futures. The way they basically work is they're flying flying blacks who have barrier white black, and the first side gives you mystery counters, and the other side kills something. That's basically what it's for. You can reveal your hand to make it bigger, but generally it's enough. Which is why you also have 2 Grimm's Pitch Black Vampires, because eventually someone's going to kill something you need, and you're going to need it back into your hand to play again. And by the time you have more wills, so you can do it faster, you're going to have 3 Dreams of Flight. I tried to experiment with 4, but I noticed 3 was probably good enough for the deck, because the times you need Dreams of Flight, you don't generally need more than 1 Dreams of Flight. You need maybe 2 at any point in time, and you'll eventually get them. And since it has Remnant, you can cast it up to 2 times with the 1 card. So it's always good. And they're quick cast, so, you know, that works out. You have 3 Magic Sweets. Of course, you get Magic Sweets from Confectioner's Hansel. If you start with 1 in your hand, unless you really, really want it, you can always toss it away and just know you can Hansel into another one. Or you can keep 1 and then Hansel into a second one just in case you think someone's going to hit out of your hand. You're going to have 4 Arrival of the Heroes. Arrival of the Heroes are a very strong card for this deck because the possible setup you're going to want, and it's going to be the big beat face setup, is you're going to want to have 1 Arrival of the Hero, you're going to have 1 Sprinting Time Horse, you want to flip your ruler, and you want to have a red-white stone. You flip your ruler, your red-white stone comes up, the one we're going to particularly use on taps, you proceed to Sprinting Horse, your Millium then becomes Swiftness, you swing with Millium, they try to block, you Arrival of the Hero because when they block, they have to tap the creature dies, your attack goes through, you do all the damage. And as long as the ruler is out, it's free, so you can even have multiple zones, you can keep playing them as long as your J ruler is out, and it's instant speed because it's quick cast. You're going to have 2 Naughty Child's Chastising. There's going to be some times where someone comes at you with that big Mamma Jamma or that really annoying creature that you can't deal with. You want to kill it outright and get life for it. It's one of the few things in the deck that allows you to get life because you don't get that too many often. But it works out. You're going to have 2 Twin Blades of Hope and Despair, which of course... gotta look at it right quick. Which of course go to 2 Swords of Fate. These are your white-black cards to make when you attack into. They're really strong because it weakens something and makes something stronger on your side of the field, and then the other side can bring in something from your field into the field, or just outright kill a J Resonator. So you can just kill a boss. And last but not least, you're gonna want 4 Fairy Tale Kingdoms Light Palace. Fairy Tale Kingdom Light Palace is a boss card in this deck. It makes your ruler untap, which means you can tap him for a stone if you want, and then also still use him to block, which makes him bigger. Or you can utilize him to tap any of your aggressors, swing into them, and then untap them for a turn so they can't block or do anything. Or if for some reason something taps you out, you can then untap them because you get the target at the end of your turn. Every Fairy Tale or a human, which pretty much everything in this deck is a Fairy Tale or a human. So it happens anyways. And it gives you a draw card. So with that done, we're immediately going to go into the stones. You have 2 Awakened Magic Stones, the Earth. Awakened Magic Stone, the Earth. If your ruler is light, when you Judgment, it untaps. It is red-white, and that's where you're going to utilize it for 2 things. You're going to utilize it so you can play things like Dreams of Flight, or you can play your Sprinting Time Horse, because this is the only way you can get red. uh, and then untaps for you, so you can utilize it for anything else because it's both white and red. You're gonna have 4 magic stones of the Heaven's Rift, because they're black white, and almost all your things are black or white. Anything that is not a fairy tale, you're gonna need the black 4 to be able to play. And other than that, anything that's of course not a fairy tale, you're gonna need white to play. So you need to have all those black white. So almost as many as possible. You're gonna want to have 2 stones of hope, which flips into stones of despair. Stone of Hope are white, so you can utilize it for any of your fairy tales. And then they flip into Stones of Despair, which you're going to flip Millium almost as early as you can. So you're going to get that off anyways, and you're going to have more black-white. And then finally, in the stone deck, you're going to have 2 stones from the Dark Castle. Stone from Dark Castle are just black stones. You have a lot of Resonators in here who are straight black, or at least 1 or 2 black, so it works out fine. You can also use it for Dark Grim's ability, and you get a mystery counter for each one, which makes it where when you use Grim from the Crimson Moon, he actually can be flipped without you having to attack into somebody first, thus immediately flipping him over and then killing anything else on the field that's not a stone. Works out fine. We finally get it to our sideboard, and the sideboard is actually pretty nice and easy. The sideboard is Zero, who is the Dark Heroes teacher, and she, of course, gone through a dark phase herself. She uses white and black. She's your more controlly ruler. If Millium can just beat someone's face out, you flip Zero, or you just have Zero in the background. Anytime they try to fly, anytime they try to have imperishable, anytime they try to pretty much do anything, you say no, because a lot of your stones create black. Otherwise, you can just pump some of your Resonators to be strong enough to not die from X abilities, because you can do them at instant speed. Her Resonators that we have in the deck, we have Abdul Ahazred, Poet of Madness. That's to stop inner effects. Like I said, this is a more controlly sideboard if you feel like you need more control. You're going to have 2 evil elemental uprisings, which is to hit out those graveyard decks that require to have things in the graveyard, so you just don't have to deal with them. And it can't be chased, so screw them. You're going to have 4 glints of insight. If you know there's a card that they need to use a combo and they tend to start with it in their deck, or in their hand, or you're going to go to it, or they need a card that is going to funnel through their deck, you can call that card and see if they have it. If they don't have it, you'll know what the name they have in the rest of the deck, and you can call that again by using those mystery counters from before. By the way, you have 2 false Peace, which turn into Deadly Pox, which can use that to also hit out their hand, so they have even less cards in hand, so you can smash them even harder. So if Millium is good enough, but you just couldn't get past all their stuff, you can keep Millium and instead hit out their hand. You're going to have 1 Soul Concentration, because sometimes you need a little bit more mystery counters, especially if you're doing this, you're going to need like 3. It's only one of, because once you get it, you have all the mystery counters you need to play the other ones. But it's also there because just in case you need to put +1/+1 counters on something and you have enough mystery counters, you can do that instead. And then the last is 3 Time Reversals. Time Reversals is a really good card. Gives you a draw card and it gives you a mystery counter. And if you have 3 mystery counters, you can untap all your stuff. So if someone tapped out everything you had, you have at least 1 black left, you can undo all that Mosasaurus bullcrap and untap everything and be ready for them to attack you next turn. So that's the entire deck. That's exactly what I was going for. Basically, it's a mid-rangey combo deck that switches into more of a control combo deck at the end. But see whatever you can do with it. I enjoyed the deck. I think it was pretty cool. But you know, if there's any comments you want on it, I wouldn't mind hearing it. So if you want to do so, make sure to comment in either the Reddit or I believe the YouTube comments, because they have it in the bottom. Like if you enjoy this video, and subscribe if you wish to watch more things like this. I'm going to have a link to the video that this was featured in on his channel. I'm probably going to link his channel and his thing so you can tell where it's from. And I hope you all enjoyed your time here. May the Zen be with you.